Hi, my name is Anj and welcome back to another video. Now, let me ask you a question. What do you do when you're too stressed, when you're overworked, when you're overwhelmed and you're too distracted by the energy of another person, or you're struggling to sleep at night because of a difficult situation, or a person because he or she isn't in a good place? And as a result, you're too bothered, you're too consumed, you're confused, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed out of how a person may be thinking about you, or what they may be thinking about the situation, and how or what they might say to you when you encounter that person again, because their negative energy is rubbing off onto you. Now, what happens is that because of these interactions, there is that constant shift in energy back and forth. And as humans, we feel the need to connect with others. And when these two merge, there is that confusion between who's you and not you. And that is when you will see that repeated cycle of absorbing other people's energies. Often this can be traced back to patterns that merge up from a childhood behavior. As a child, I always felt the need that I had to people please so that I can feel loved and valued within that family dynamic. And when you're then, as a child, feeling the need to connect with other people, you start to absorb other people's energies. And these patterns can then play out later on in life in different scenarios, different situations. This then causes you to react from an emotional state of fear, anxiety, anger, loneliness, sadness, grief, even people pleasing, because there are so many emotions active at the same time that it becomes impossible to make sense of anything. Your vibration is low. You keep encountering and attracting of the same. You're snapping at the people around you. You're moody because your sense of self, your space, your identity, that is all governed by your thoughts, feelings, and actions. This is happening because in that moment, you've handed your power over to that other person. You're letting their negative energy into your field. You're absorbing their negative energy. Now, in order to remain in your energy, you need to become aware of your space, your sense of self-image, your identity, and your power, and allow the moment to be. Instead of putting up that wall of resistance, instead of labeling that situation as a negative situation, a situation that you want to avoid, that you don't want anything to do with it, you don't want to even be part of it, instead of that, accept and allow the moment to be. Because here is the key thing. By allowing the moment to be, you are choosing in that moment to remain in your energy. You are choosing to remain in control of your state. If you ignore it, if you put up that resistance and you don't want to label it as a negative situation, it's still going to be there, whether you encounter it there or whether it's going to play out later on in life as a different situation or scenario, because there is a lesson for you to be learned. Now, I used to find myself in similar situations like this countless times as a child, and it's because of the family dynamics that I grew up in. And even as an adult, I used to find myself in similar situations because there were lessons that I had to learn. I had to find a way to rediscover my personal power and raise my vibrational frequency so that I can then approach and look at these difficult situations or encounter these negative people from a different perspective. I'm able to stand my ground. I'm able to stand in my power and not let the negative energy into my field. And that's what I want to remind you of, because you can do that too. When you let go of that resistance, when you allow that moment to be, you're able to then, switch the situation. But more so, you are able to be present in that moment in your energy field, and you're able to observe with clarity of what the situation is, rather than let your emotional state take over and run wild in your mind. Now, I recently found myself in a similar situation and I had to confront someone about a particular situation. But because of their reaction and their negative response, and they didn't take it well, their energy actually affected me to the point where even when I went home, it affected me and I couldn't think straight. It affected how I interacted with the people in my house. And it really, really bothered me. And I knew that I was going to meet that person again in a couple of days and I was going to encounter that person again. And I was thinking, okay, if I see that person again, what if I just avoid eye contact? What if I just don't even look at that person? I'll go in there, do my thing and just get the hell out of there. But I knew that wasn't going to solve anything for that matter, because if it wasn't for that day, then it would have been the following day or the next day. And what I did was I made sure that I stayed in my power and I raised my vibrational frequency. I made sure that I stood my ground. And this time when I approached that person, or rather she approached me, I stood my ground. I remained centered in my heart center, which allowed me to remain calm and grounded. And I was able to respond in a much more calmer way. I was able to look at the situation from a different perspective. Because rather than giving into that situation or giving into that person and just saying something that will make the situation go away, like pleasing them and making them happier, so their happiness is more valuable than mine. And remember, this links back to the idea of people pleasing. But instead, in that situation, I was able to change the dynamics of the situation by changing my own state, by keeping my vibrational neutral, and by remaining in my own power. And that's the key thing here, remaining calm and centered and grounded in your space, your sense of self, your identity. And by doing that, I was calm and collective. By doing that, I remained in my own energy. I remained in control of my own state. So what you can do is remain present and grounded in that situation. Grounded so that you don't get thrown off by what they are doing or saying, or not let whatever they may be saying become overbearing over you. So you can avoid absorbing other people's energies. You can remain in your own energy by 1, not labeling the situation as negative, and 2, by choosing to have control over how you actually feel. And by understanding that we have the power within us to decide what affects us. And by doing that, you remain in your neutral state and in your power. The real power is control over how we feel, to decide what affects us. And if you decide to remain in that state of being, then you're not absorbing other people's energies. That is where the real power is. It's within you. And it's when you rediscover your power that you're able to then approach and handle any situation that life throws at you. And a final thought I would like to leave you with is, don't be so quick to label the situation as negative or think, why me? Why is this happening to me? Because you are then choosing to remain in that negative situation. You are choosing to absorb other people's negative energy because that's what you're emitting out and that's what you're bouncing off. But rather, remain centered, remain balanced, and be true to who you are in that natural state of being. Think about your space, your sense of self, and expand that. And this will give you clarity, and so that you can then approach the situation from a different perspective. So guys, I hope you found value in today's video. Please let me know in the comments below, and I hope you have a great day. Take care. Much love. Namaste.